Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with a battle report. So, my last battle report, I totally screwed up. I positioned that as my last practice game before the tournament. And in fact, I didn't take pictures of my last practice game during the tournament following my recent trend of not doing battle reports for my practice game. So, the last battle report was actually game one. Game one of the tournament. Um, yeah, surprise. So, yeah, I go to game one, I play Siren Agents, and I get, out of a possible 23 points, I got 23 points, which is great, and it also launches you to the top table, and, things can get a little bit tougher there, of course. So now we're at game two. I get playing against somebody who also got 23 points in his first game, some Dread Elves. So this is, it's got off to a wonky start because we took some time deploying, and then we realized that we deployed in the traditional way, and then we were supposed to do diagonal, and so we had to just scrap everything and do it again, and we got off to a kind of a late start, and we're rushing things a little bit. But overall, it looks like that. If you look in the very top corner, top right corner, he's got a unit of warriors in the corner. He knows I'm going to be ambushing 2 units of 20 Wildhorns, and he really doesn't want me behind his lines, or at least he wants to do something to try to protect himself from that. So starting on his right, he's got a small 5-man cavalry unit. Then he's got a 9-man cavalry unit with his battle standard bearer in there. And as always, in the description, you can find the lists. Then he's got his Witchblades of Nab. Behind him are some harpies. Next to him are crossbows with a spellcaster, a bolt thrower. Next to them, well, in the corner, of course, are warriors with spears. Then there's this unit, 24 Black Tower Guard, plus his general, his Dreadlord, who's just mean and nasty. And there's another bolt thrower. So, it seems that a lot of lists I'm facing now have two big blocks of troops. I've been calling them, they're not really Death Stars, because Death Stars means you put a bunch of characters in there and there's just no way to get the points from that unit. And in Ninth Age, I'm not seeing the true Death Stars much anymore. We still call them that, but they're really not. I've been calling these guys battleships. Um, so this army list I'm going against has 3 battleship units. I mean, they're tough, they're rock hard, but they're not unbeatable. They're just things that have to be dealt with. Well, I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, his unit of knights I'm not too worried about. Either my Minotaurs or my Longhorns can deal with them. His Witchblades are nasty, but I think my Gortach should be able to handle them. And keep in mind, I brought the Path of Nature just so I can regrow extra wounds if I need to. So I think my Gortach should be okay there. The problem is this unit of Black Tower Guard. I just don't know how to deal with it. I mean, the only thing that might be able to handle it are my Gortach, but his general will make short work of them. So it's really kind of a conundrum for me. Anyway, he's got some scouts in that field up there, and then kind of behind my line already are the Doomfire Warlocks. So on the far right, trying to use that hill for line of sight purposes and just trying to play a game with his small knight unit over here. And for the most part, I'm not being aggressive with it. I just need to keep him from coming up. My Centaur Chieftain, Minotaurs, Longhorns, a couple units of dogs, a couple Gortachs, Mongrel Raiders, my Chariot behind me just in case I didn't want to put his scouts back there and just be able to do anything he wanted. All right, so my opponent deployed first. So he gets to go first, and overall it looks like that. So he's got his harpies hiding behind that hill. He's out of line of sight. He can't see anything, but he doesn't need to see anything. He's got his cavalry unit 5-man kind of off to the right. You can't really see it, but he's got a long charge with them. And yeah, otherwise he's moving his executioners up. He actually kind of held back with his Witchblades and his big cavalry unit, which I'm a little bit surprised with, but at the same time, I think it's kind of smart that there's you don't have to just rush up all the time, and my left flank where his executioners are coming down, he's got that locked down. There's nothing I have to do with that unit, so he can be patient in the middle and just move that unit around. All right, so he shoots some dogs. He kills 4 out of 5. I've got 1 left. I move it up as you can see. In the hindsight, I made a mistake here. That single feral hound is barely within line of sight of his executioners. I needed to be more careful with that. I don't need the executioners charging that dog and being all up in my business. And if he charges it and I flee, there's a real good chance I'm going to land right in front of my lines and just kind of clog clog up my lines. And even then, those executioners aren't that far away from my Gortach, so I think just kind of hasty movement on my part. The good news is one unit of Wildhorns came on the board. The bad news is the other one didn't. It's so much more powerful if they both come on at the same time, because I can exert pressure. He can only really effectively respond to one. If I come in one at a time, it allows them to respond to one at a time, which sucks. All right, so we go to Dread Elves turn 2. Yeah, in big news, the Black Tower Guard charged the single dog. He lined it so if they overrun, I think he needs to roll 6, I think, to hit a Gortach in the front. And then we would fight that on my turn. And although that's not ideal, I've kind of resigned myself that that might be the most I can hope for. Then when we actually fought that, I could charge another Gortach into their flank, I believe, if not into their front, and then at least I'd have a magic phase to help out where I could. So not ideal, but actually I'm not hating that situation. So there's that. And after combat, yeah, he easily kills the dog. Look at the other dog, by the way. He shoots at that. He's only killed 4 out of 5 dogs. He's kind of rolling poorly on his shooting. So he easily kills the dog. He overruns, and he runs like I think he ran 5. He needed 6, and just landed right in front of that Gortach. Now, of course, my first instinct is just to charge both Gortachs in. But I kind of think that if I charge a Gortach in their front, he's probably going to die. Especially if his general makes way, then he definitely is going to die. And he might die before I even swing. So what's the point? So I'm thinking I'm just going to take another Gortach in the flank. Just try to kill as many of those things as possible. I think in the long run, he dies unless I can regrow wounds and get really lucky on him. I just don't know what else to do there. Meanwhile, over here, I didn't really show it last time, but basically I put my Chariot up with an easy charge range of these guys. And I thought he'd probably charge him because he didn't. I was gonna charge him on my turn. And then I thought, well, he can either reform or he can go off the board. If he reforms, I can take my Centaur Chieftain and charge him. If he goes off the board, I could do whatever I want with my Chieftain. If nothing else, I could sit there and wait till he does come back on the board and charge him. Well, the problem is he parked his Harpies in front of my Minotaurs and my Longhorns. And if I do charge the Centaur Chieftain into small unit knights, that means this big unit knights is going to get a free charge into my Minotaurs, and I'm really concerned about that. In hindsight, I shouldn't have been. I should have just focused magic on him. Take a Gortach in the flank of the Tower Guard and don't support him in magic. Just hope he can hold them up for a little bit and focus the magic on the Minotaurs. And especially if I don't charge the Harpies, he's not going to get all his knights in combat. Yeah. Well, what I did instead was I went ahead and charged my Longhorns and my Minotaurs into the Harpies just to get them dead. I charged the Gortach into the flank of the Tower Guard. Again, I think I should win combat this time, and then my opponent kind of a hard decision. Does he reform to kill my guy and risk anything bad happening and getting flank charged, or does he just take the risk because his unit's sitting there for a long time? So those Harpies are going to die. Take the Centaur Chieftain into this unit. Now, 4 attacks, strength 7, probably rerolling to hit, means that it's a gutsy move if my opponent gives me his Battle Standard Bearer in a challenge. I'm going to issue a challenge. His BSB, or if I don't, I think he issued a challenge. Either way. So his BSB is a 1-up rerollable, I think. So, strength 7, that's a 5-up rerollable. He doesn't want to take that chance. He's going to feed me a champion. I'm going to kill the hell out of that champion. And I'm going to hold them up a turn. And hopefully I'll hold them up well enough that the Minotaurs can help out later. Meanwhile, this other unit decides to come on the board. So I put them in this formation and walk up, and they're just going to shoot all of their stuff at that Witchblade unit, which is actually pretty sweet. I think I end up doing 3 or 4, maybe 5 wounds to him, which is nice. I mean, that unit's nasty, but I'm just going to keep this unit behind him and just shoot. And we'll get them down to a manageable level. If I have to, I'll charge them, and I'll die, but I might be able to do even a few more wounds to him. Here, guarding my rear, his Doomfire Warlocks charged my Chariot and failed the charge, so I was able to get a counter charge in return, so I'm very excited about that. And of course, this first ambushing unit was able to charge, so I went ahead and charged that Bolt Thrower. So after combat, yeah, the Gortach just whiffed. It was awful. He's got 7 attacks. He's got Thunderstomp. He's got a lot of damage output potential. I think I killed maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, I was really hoping to kill more. Not that it would have really mattered. My opponent was still going to be steadfast. He was still going to be able to reform. He reformed, as you can see. And, if my Gortach can live, now my opponent has a really tough choice to make to stay there to reform. If he stays there, he's going to get a flank charge with my other unit, and he's going to be toast. So the problem is he only had 3 guys attacking me. His general was not one of them. He wasn't willing to put his general touching me, because if his general didn't kill me, I was going to put all my attacks into his general. The problem is, with only 3 guys attacking me, he did 4 wounds. I thought that was really unfortunate. It probably doesn't matter, because once he reforms, he's going to get so many attacks that he's probably going to be able just to kill me anyway, especially if he makes away with his general. Yeah, but that kind of hurt. Over here, yeah, so we charge in, and between that and everything, I kill 4 of them, but he does 3 wounds back, which again I thought was a little lucky, a little good, and he's stuck. So I'd rather get the points when I can, and I didn't get those points. His champion's dead. He reforms. My Minotaurs, of course, have to overrun. If memory serves, I did the Minotaurs combat first, which was a mistake. I should have done the Centaur Chieftain first, because once I did the Minotaurs, then my opponent knew exactly how I had to reform to get out of their line of sight. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. So do the Centaur Chieftain first next time. Then my opponent has to guess. He doesn't know what's going to happen to the Minotaurs. And I might have been able to line up a flank charge. Sometimes it's painful for me to do these reports, because I'm just looking at mistakes, and it's just making me so mad. All right, so lots happening here. I felt that on my turn 2, at the beginning of the turn, things were really going my way, and at the end of the turn, things just kind of didn't. So we go to Dread Elf turn 3. Overall, it looks like that. Lots of fights going on. So he took a small unit of cavalry and charged the flank of my Minotaurs. It looks like he's backwards to me. That's because they just wouldn't fit with their heads sticking out and their lances and stuff. And I really wasn't worried about this. He's going to have a charge, a flank, and a banner. I got that. But really, he only has, 4 high-strength attacks, and then I guess he'll have 8 strength 4 attacks. But I'm going to have 10 attacks, re-rolling to hit, coming back at him. So I wasn't doing the math in my head at the time, but I'm thinking I might just kill the unit outright. If nothing else, I'll do 2 or 3 wounds to it. And I think worst case scenario is he's going to win combat. I'll be steadfast and reform to face him. I'm just not worried about it. I think he just fed me a unit. The worst that'll happen is they'll hold me up long enough that his BSB's unit will deal with my Centaur Chieftain and be able to still get the charge on me, which I think is what he was going for. Over here is his Witchblades decide to just go ahead and charge that dog. You notice the back rank is missing. Ha ha ha. His warriors make a long charge into this. I think I take that back. I think they failed a long charge the last time, which is what allowed me to charge his bolt thrower. This time it wasn't that long of a charge. He makes it. I think odds are probably about even. Hoping to just get lucky enough. And let's see, over here, he's just moving his wizard out of line of sight of my unit. And then the Witchblades won't be there. I'll be able to charge his crossbows next turn if I want. He really just static combat reses my Centaur Chieftain off the table. I flee. I roll high enough to go off the table. He reforms. And holy, oh my gosh. So his guys charge in the flank of my Minotaurs. Everybody who could hit and wound did. I only do 2 wounds back, which now in hindsight when I do the math, I probably only should have done 2 or 3. But he won by a bunch. I was steadfast, rerollable, and I failed it. And he ran me down. That hurts, my friends. The Black Tar Guard killed the 1 Gortach. That wasn't too awful surprising. And dang it all. So, we're down to my Chariot and a single guy left, but the problem is I only have 1 wound left because he rolled like freaking amazing when I charged in, and he kills my Chariot. That's just freaking fantastic. Things are really went to pot on Dread Elves turn 3. The combat up top, yeah, he won. He broke my guys. I was able to get away. And we go to Beastlord's turn 3. At this point, I'm just screwed. I can't do anything with my General's unit because the little cavalry unit that totally mopped up my Minotaurs charged in and held me in place. Okay, so one thing that's hard to see, I don't know if I have a close-up picture, but when he charged my Gortach last time, he charged his scouts into his flank. And so when they killed the Gortach, the scouts were able to overrun. They hit the flank of my Gortach. So I'm thinking, so I don't know if you can see that, but he's got 5 little scouts flanking my Gortach. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to win this. I hope I just don't kill them all. I beat them from combat and can pursue them and get out of line of sight of that other unit. Of course, I don't know what that really does for me, because then he charges that one unit into my Longhorns, then he charges the Witch Elves and my Gortach, and probably just gets both. Yeah, I'm just kind of in a bad position. Oh, yeah, so my Wildhorns charge his crossbow unit. He does a standard shoot. He kills like 5 or 6 of them. I fail my panic test and run off the board. Okay. Can we just finish this game, please? Okay. So the freaking scouts, the 5-man scout unit, charges the flank. They overrun into the flank of my Gortach. I'm thinking, it's not many points, but he's just feeding me points. Those guys go in there and he rolls to hit. He's got, 5 models, so 10 attacks. He rolls 10 dice. He rolls 5 6s, and they have poison. And then he goes a few other hits, and then he rolls to wound. He rolls another 6. Gortach dead before he even swings. Okay. I mean, you know what? I'm not even mad at this point. I'm like, I've made some mistakes, but this is just ridiculous. So, yeah, okay. I don't know what to do. In the magic phase, my unit is buffed pretty well. I can't quite read those cards, but I guarantee you, I think I have the toughness buff up, and it might even be boosted. And if it's not boosted, then I have toughness and the wards and the regen save. But this unit is buffed defensively. So, despite those buffs, he charges in as he should have with his Knight unit and his Black Tower Guard. His monster-killing scouts charge the flank of my Mongrel Raiders. And, what else is there to do? So, actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. Yeah. There's a close-up picture of that. There's that. After combat, yeah, you see, he didn't really kill that much. His general tried to kill my spellcaster and couldn't even kill my spellcaster, which is pretty awesome. He kind of whiffed a little bit. Yeah, I just had a bunch of defensive buffs up. Now it's going to be my turn. That's actually bad for me because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get those buffs up again. My unit, of course, was steadfast anyway, but they're stubborn anyway, as long as my general's alive. And my general has +2 attacks, +2 strength because of the Kingslayer sword. And he killed just a lot of those Black Tower Guard. So we go to my phase. In the magic phase, I think I was able to get just 1 buff off. I think it was distracting. Now my spellcaster's dead. The unit just got absolutely obliterated this turn. Without those defensive buffs up, it just was ugly. But my general's alive on 2 wounds. My BSB's alive miraculously. I've got the Black Tower Guard down to 3 models left, which is something. Those are some points, but for the most part, he's just wasted me. And then my flank, he's got the big unit of knights, but he also has 1 guy left from that small unit of knights. And all I want in life is to kill that guy because that little unit wrecked my game, and I can't. I can't kill him. It's like insult to injury. Go to Dread Elf turn 5. If you look at the very top, his warriors, they'd beaten this unit once. I rallied. They charge him again. Otherwise, there's just really not a whole lot to do. There's that. There's that. Yeah, I mean, those scouts coming in the side, I mean, that's got to be everything, right? And yeah, that's all it took. So they killed the unit enough. I think he killed my general, and then the unit was easily broken, and he caught him. And I wasn't able to kill that last knight. So yeah, it's just one of those games. Meanwhile, he breaks my unit. On my turn, I rally, and then he just tries to shoot him, and I think I end up saving half points, and who really cares? So at the end of the game, just a crushing defeat. The only real points I got what, like a bolt thrower, harpies, half points for a small unit of knights, and I got the Black Tower Guard. I mean, that was it. He that my whole army except for, half points on either Wildhorns. Yeah, so I got 0 points this game. that is so rough. That is such a bad way to be in a tournament. And it's funny, as far as the tournament goes, I was still pretty optimistic. I'm like, you know what? Getting full points one game and 0 points the next game is like having 2 very, very average games, which means I'm not going to win the tournament, but I still have a chance to do really, really well in it. So actually, my spirits were pretty good. I think this is posed a challenge for me. I think it's tough It's tough when I face an opponent that has a unit that even without being a Death Star, I just can't handle it. And to this moment, I don't know how to handle that unit of Black Tower Guard. I mean, obviously, get a flank charge on it. Okay, but my opponent has some great chaff, great redirectors, and he has two other really strong units. Like I said, this is kind of a three battleship kind of list rather than a single Death Star kind of list. And I don't mind that. I like the challenge, and I think Ninth Age promoting those kind of lists and not Death Stars is, I think, a great way to go. They make for great games. But I've got to figure out how to handle units like the Tower Guard. Anyway, that's it. Here. Thank you so much for watching the video. I truly hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has a variety of functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like or comment on the video, you can favorite it, you can share it, and of course you can subscribe to the channel. And I encourage you to do any or all of those things as a way of interacting between viewer and producer. As always, I appreciate your patronage on the channel and wish you all the best.